Alright guys, so welcome back to episode 2. I'm Warhammer. Let's continue our Ultimate Modded Tomb Kings campaign. We're up in Bretonia, we've dealt with the Carcassonne, now we're going after Orion, which might be a mistake. But I thought we'd get him while he was a little bit hurt. He did get some real punishment over the intern, unfortunately, so not quite as damaged as before, but I think we'll be able to deal with him. Let's go into it. Ryan, coming for you. We are fighting him at one of the recently conquered settlements. So he has a few damaged units in the settlement. Garrison is just barely alive, but Orion is no joke. He is very hard to kill. He's got very powerful anti-large armor-piercing missiles. He's got frenzy, so we're going to have to really do our best not to fight him with bad stuff, or else he's going to decimate that. But they've got several things of archers, only a few things of Eternal Guard. I think 4, some of them with shields, some without, but most of the army is Glade Guard or some Deepwood Scouts. But they do have 3 things of Wild Riders, 2, I believe, without shields, 1 with. But that is going to be very, very nasty. Wild Riders are big damage dealers, not too much armor, but their stats are pretty good. They have lots of armor piercing. They get frenzy as a part of Orion's army, I believe, so they're very, very nasty. We're going after some of our chariots and our tomb prints, so we're going to try to set them down with Cetra. Chariots really got to get in some work, get on these guys in the back, but we're going to go after this point up here as fast as we can so they can't get any of these defensive points put up to block us. They have a calf leading the attack. Where is he? Right there. Coming up here, they're trying to hold us off with some Deepwood Scouts while the Eternal Guard move up. Cascade of Souls trying to get into a spot where you can hit some of the more healthy units like the Eternal Guard. The Eternal Guard are the really big issue. Glade Guard aren't that good in melee, but yeah, look at those Wild Riders. Look how much damage they're doing to the tomb prints. Down to half health. Cetra is going to be casting this entire game with his incantation of Jar, Cursed Blades, to get that healing from the Restless Dead as much as possible. But yeah, those Wild Riders really trying to block our chariots before we can get into the back line into some of those units, so that's a problem. But Orion gets some nice missiles in, trying to hit a calf, which is fine because we've kind of bunched up infantry around him. And some of our other units able to move pretty fast and get into melee with some of these Eternal Guard, trying to chase them off. Archers putting some shots into Orion now, which is pretty great. He does not have very much armor. He does have some physical resist, though, which can be kind of nasty in this regard. Skeleton Archers don't do much. But yeah, Tomb Guard took quite a bit of damage from all the range fire. They're down to half health already. Did have a little bit of damage before the battle started, but Realm of Souls starting to kick in with that big heal. Yeah, Tomb Prince definitely got his butt kicked by those Wild Riders for a little bit, but Cetra helping out. My will be done, giving that extra big boost of leadership, or melee and attack and defense, which helps them get through those great stats. We try to move up our forces over here, try to catch all of these archers as soon as possible. Start pulling our chariots up over to this flank in a little bit. But the calf was going after Orion for a little bit. Didn't go too bad, actually, with the support of the archers, but we just don't want him exposed the entire time because he was getting some shots from these Deepwood Scouts and Glade Guard in the back, so we'll try to get him some support, make sure he doesn't lose too much leadership, but... Oh, Hounds of Orion going down. Big damage, actually. Holy crap, just wrecking on these guys. Nehekar warriors losing lots of health. Another Wild Riders coming in, but Tomb Prince getting in the back, trying to shut down these Glade Guard, going after the Glade Captain as well. Cetra going out to help, along with some chariots coming in. Over here, we've driven back a lot of the units. Realm of Souls does hit its max, and we get our Ushapti summon pretty soon. Yes, this is kind of a mosh pit of bad stuff for us, so we're going to throw our Ushapti right on top of these Eternal Guard and Wildwood Rangers. These guys can eat through our infantry if we're not careful. We want to make sure we don't lose units. Like our Tomb Guard, they're very, very valuable. Do our best. Skeleton Spearmen and stuff trying to catch up. Still taking a fair amount of missile fire over here, but chariots and these Tomb Guard are still pretty healthy, so they'll help out quite a bit. But chariots still trying to catch up to some of these guys. We do have some Glade Guard in melee now. Keep them occupied till our infantry gets there. Kind of a dark map, which is nice, but it is a little bit hard to see in the shade of all the trees, but we'll try to get closer. See some of the nice lighting from our battle over Hamad. Ooh, chariot goes down right there to some shots from the Glade Guard in the back. 10 models still, although it is getting very low on HP, so we just got to keep these guys in melee, keep them running away so they can't shoot, though. No melee over here. Well, a lot of our guys have taken damage. They've targeted down our archers. Casket of Souls. Been doing pretty well. 64 kills, but it's been scaring off guys for the most part. Another thing of Orion's Hounds coming down on these spearmen as they're trying to deal with this treekin, but with Nakaf taking so much damage and over here having trouble, we decided to pull Cetra and go after Orion. Cetra is anti-large, and Orion is a large target, so he's going to get that big boost in damage and that chance to hit, which would be very, very nice. We're also going to be throwing down the Incantation of Curse Blades, Overcast to get the bonus large. We do have Nakaf nearby, which is providing guarding as well. Doesn't do a whole lot, because, oh yeah, Orion does not have magical attacks yet. He needs to get his spear. That's very, very good. I didn't think about that initially, but we're going to rampage him with our Tomb Prince, make sure he dies off. Tomb Prince does try to come in for one more charge. Orion is unbreakable, so we got to finish him off. But Skeleton Spearmen do pretty well. Routed off those Deepwood Scouts, and they've dealt with these Treekin. On this side, still going pretty well, though some of our units have gotten pretty low. These Skeleton Archers just about to die. Chariots still barely holding on. We're getting that Restless Dead passive from Cetra, continuously casting, keeping that little bit of heal. But we're chasing down the Wood Elves. Too bad for the Wood Elves. The settlements don't have too many trees on their maps, so I'm going to take a nice rear charge here from the chariots. Boom. Running them over. Lawnmowers. Ha! That's what I'm going to call it. Whenever we fight Wood Elves, skeleton chariots are going to be called lawnmowers. But on this side, we're pretty much just trying to finish off this Glade Captain, because she or he, I think they can be male or female. Basically, the only thing holding together the army leadership for the Wood Elves, so we're going to try to do our best. Cetra does a lot of damage, and he has very good stats, so he'll get through our defenses. But our Tomb Prince get very low. Glade Guard still getting some shots off onto our Nakaf. Glade Guard do not have 360-degree fire arcs, but they can fire while moving, so if we start chasing them, they're actually not going to be able to get any shots off that way. So we got to make sure we're continually chasing them. And it looks like we've finally broken their leadership. Glade Captain finally taking too much damage from Cetra. We do win the battle, but we'll use as much time as we have to keep casting spells and get the little bits of healing from the Restless Dead. Well, it was a pretty scary battle, actually. Able to get a good amount of healing off with Cetra with the passive from the Lord of Nehekar, but we lost 2 archers, not a huge deal. Wiped out this army, we'll get Orion's defeat trait, which I don't remember off the top of my head. Leadership during force battles, melee tech during force battles, kind of worthless, but yeah, we did take a lot of damage there. I don't want to sit around too long. I actually, if we can go after the King's Blade and take the Oak of Ages, that would be sweet. Let's get Spearmen, because we really don't need these guys. The bonus versus large is much more valuable. Let's merge a lot of these Spearmen, though, because we can get them in a much higher rank. If we recruit them now, then try to keep the ones we already had. Camry is in the middle of being upgraded. This army is still recruiting some stuff. And we'll try to go out and take the Springs of Eternal Life so we can get full control of this province. I want to start pumping out the growth as soon as possible in Camry. Oh, I have an oasis here. Cool. Rush construction jar cost. Oh, I completely forgot to mention that. Yes, we can rush construction with canopic jars now, so it's much more valuable. But for now, let's just do. I want the casualty replenishment. It'll take us no, because this will be in this territory next turn. Let's just go for the extra movement range, probably. Etc. Yeah, the rest of the stuff is going to be really handy, but yeah, we want to get some of this stuff, so we're going to save all of our points. A calf, get the extra point into training. And what does this do? Melee attack and melee defense for the entire army? Yes, please. I think that's actually worth getting over training right now. Because we have a lot of crap units, so I don't really care too much about keeping them super alive, especially since we can recruit them at higher rank. But for our Tomb Prince now, let's go Indomitable Will. This gives him more leadership. Let's do that one as well. And we're 9 turns away from our third army. Yeah. Going against the Wood Elves may have been a mistake. Because the garrisons can be pretty strong. Although Oak of Ages is pretty strong, but Kingsglade is not strong yet, so maybe that was a smart idea. Yeah, Camry, what, had 2 more turns? I probably just want to save my income for that. Because this will take really long as well, because it's bad climate for us. Yeah, we'll wait. We don't have the money as Tomb Kings to spend on bad climate settlements. Yeah, hopefully we can get here before they have to build up too much of an army. It'll probably take us maybe 3 turns to get there because of the river, which is not ideal.
Must have his crown, my lord. Yours was a repository of such power and a true reflection of your achievements in life and beyond.
I don't remember how difficult this quest battle is, but they've got armored chaos trolls, a giant hell cannons. That's a pretty good army. So, not likely to happen. How much does going into channeling sense slow us down? Okay, it's not too bad. I do want to build up our Winds of Magic as much as possible, because that's healing. And it actually might be worth it to actually sell some of these settlements. Let's see how much they'll give us for Quinels. 2,300? What if I did... Oh, that's not what I meant. I meant to do that in a trade agreement. We don't really get very much money from trading per turn, but it's better than nothing. They already don't like the Wood Elves, so... like that. Plus I'm not planning to build that up. So I think that's a good trade. You want a few more archers? How many Winds of Magic does this cost us right now? I don't remember at the top of my head. Was it like 5? Not quite 5. No, it's really cheap. Isn't it like 2? Yeah, it costs us 2. And 4 upgraded. Okay, so with 50 Winds of Magic currently, that's a lot. We probably don't need that. Yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to recruit instead. So let's get rid of Nehekar Warrior. Actually, we can get rid of this guy. He's not nearly as good. We'll urge one of them. Let's get... No, we have 5 recruitment slots, so that's plenty. Let's do... both of you, and get rid of these archers because we can get them at a higher rank if we recruit them this way. Get another archer. Actually, we don't need that many spearmen. Oh crap, no, that's all of our slots. Okay, we'll have one more turn of recruiting anyway. Ha. I think we put this for one extra turn of replenishment though, because we really need to get these Tomb Guard leveled up high if we're gonna have to fight like a treeman or something at the Elk of Ages. You've got a full army now. This is gonna be vampire counts, but as long as they don't have any grave guard or anything, we should be okay. Yeah, they've got a Terrorgeist, but we've got lots of anti-large. Not too many dire wolves, which is great. Okay, their skeleton spearmen versus ours. They have 14 melee attack, 30 melee defense. We have just pretty much equal. They have equal stats, so... Okay, but we have access to Realm of Souls and Chariots. I think we can win through Chariots, although that is a lot of units. I'll besiege it for a turn and see if they actually come out and try to attack us on the field. But I do think we can win it if it comes down to it. If not, we can retreat and get some better units from Camarine a couple of turns or so. Should keep an eye on what else over there. I guess it'll switch over there at the end of the turn. We'll just see if they actually come out and try to fight us. Okay, they do. Yeah, it is going to be a tough battle because they actually have more numbers than us. We don't have any magic. What do you have for your bound abilities? Oh no, you have magic actually. You have a... I forgot, you're the... You do have some magic. So you have Tide Call, which is very good. I think we can win that. Yeah, the only thing I think we really need to worry about is the Vampire Lord himself, because he's hard to kill, and then the Terrorgeist. But... Us going after the undead. We besieged the settlement. Not quite sure if we wanted to take them on immediately, but they're actually going to fight us over the turn, which is not bad. If we win, we get control of the settlement and wipe these guys out for good. Fair amount of skeleton spearmen, a few units of direwolves and fellbats, but the big thing is the Vampire Lord, of course, very good in melee, plus access to some healing through the Invocation of the Heck, and we have a Terrorgeist. This is the big issue for me. Causes terror. It has some really nice breath attacks, but it has regeneration. So it's going to be very, very hard to take down. Decent amount of armor, 80 armor, which the skeleton spearmen do not have very much armor piercing. So that Bonosaurus Lodge is really going to have to come into play, try to do that. But we have King Amenemhet. He is going to be a very big key to dealing with that Terrorgeist. He is anti-large. He is armor piercing, pretty decent bonus versus large, and he has access to some really nice spells. Tide Call in particular is going to be very great. Spiteful Shot would be nice for the magical attacks to get through some of the physical resist, but unfortunately it does not work on anything that does not have a missile attack. But Chariot's already doing some work, wiping out these direwolves. Chariots are amazing versus direwolves because they just get absolutely annihilated by the bonus versus infantry. The big charge bonus, but the Terrorgeist is going to come in for some big charges, try to kill off some of these chariots before they can get away. It does have 90 speed, so it is going to be able to catch whatever it can hit. Plus it has poison, which is going to slow us down. So we don't want to stay there too long. We don't want to let the infantry catch up to us, so we're just going to engage some of these fellbats. Fellbats as well will go down really easily to our chariots if we get charges off. But we just kind of built our front line up against the back of this mountain. Use that to bolster our flanks so we can just concentrate our forces. But yep, direwolves coming in to charge on our Tomb King. But they're going to die pretty quickly. Our front line has bet the enemy. Yes, this chariot does take a fair amount of damage from the Terrorgeist. Lost one model, but about a third of its HP coming down. So we're going to pull back the chariots for a little bit, just try to get them into friendly territory. Moreover, we just want to get this Terrorgeist into melee with some Spearmen, because it's going to be a grind to kill it, so we just got to start grinding it down as soon as possible. Pretty cool vista. Undead battling undead in the Sands of Nehekara. The vampire armies versus the forces of the Tomb Kings. Yep. Terrorgeists already getting some kills in. We're going to pull the chariots out, though. We got the Terrorgeist in the combat, which is what we wanted. The chariots still have enough mass to get through all these skeleton warriors if we keep force marching them, or force clicking. But we really don't want to fight the skeleton spearmen, so we need to get out of there quick. Lickety split. Vampire Lord. The sword, based off of the character, one of the original vampire bloodline lords. The Lord of the Necrarchs, the first of the Necrarchs. But not actually him. I'd love to get him in like a Champs of Chaos vampire style DLC. But just a little bit of a frame drop right there. Some nice little combat footage now. Skeleton Warriors versus Skeleton Warriors. I think they have the exact same stats. Pretty much. So, we do get access to map-wide healing through the Realm of Souls, so that's going to be the big factor. Along with our Tide Call coming down from our Lord. That's going to be able to do big damage. It's great against the Undead because it doesn't do any armor piercing, but they really don't have very much armor to start with. See that coming down right there? Big damage. Chariots kind of picking their way out. We didn't want to get caught by the Spearmen because they will actually do a fair amount of damage to them. So we don't want to stay there too long. But we'll come around and get some rear charges in. We kind of kept the phalanxes of spearmen in kind of a Roman formation, so we kept some of them in front, and we'll have back ones that we can swap out, try to keep their vigor as high as possible for the ones in front and let the ones in back regen so they don't get tired and lose all those stats. But yeah, these guys just getting decimated by that Vampire Lord. Another big Tide Call right there. Ooh. A lot of damage. Not too many kills yet, but it's doing what it's supposed to. It's disrupting formations, bringing their leadership a little bit lower. But he's trying to fight this Terrorgeist now. Let's see if he's actually getting poisoned by it. Not so far. It hasn't attacked him, so no poison yet. That's great. He doesn't get that damage debuff. Luckily for us, it didn't get any of its breath attacks off, which could have done big damage, but yes. Last charge. Ooh, big charge by the chariots. Watch the Undead start to crumble because of that, along with the magic coming down as well. Students getting decimated. Their leadership just barely hanging on, but the Spearmen are finally catching up to these guys in the back, so we do have to be very careful. Don't pull them right to that. On the Souls, big kill coming down for our units. It's kind of a funky green glow versus the on-color one, but greenish glow, yellowish glow, whatever you want to call it. Yes. This is very cool. I've never done a really close battle with just Undead versus Undead for a long time. So it's cool to see that in action. Fortunately, we don't have any really like showcasing units yet, but the Chariots are doing pretty good work. Rule over here, not going too bad. The Terrorgeist was getting really low. Its leadership was just about to break, even with the regeneration. So they throw down a Van Hell's That's Macabre on top of it, instead of a Invocation of the Heck, surprisingly. But it will boost its leadership a little bit just from getting the spellcast on it. But just barely brings its leadership back up. Just barely stops breaking. Chariot's still doing some good work though. 116 kills, 107, only 24 on this one. This one got caught a little bit earlier by the Terror guy. So it's coming in for some good attacks now, but another big tide call there. Look at that damage. Holy crap. That just decimated all these skeleton warriors over here. It's like their leadership just barely broke. They were taking some crumbling damage, but it manages to come back just barely in time. Let's actually look at our Lord. How much value he's getting, because he's actually doing big damage. He's fighting a very important unit and getting lots of kills with magic. Yeah, 2,700 value against the undead. That's actually crazy, because skeleton warriors and zombies are worth nothing, so he's getting major value. Yes, Chariot's coming in for another big side charge. These guys have started to crumble a little bit. The spearmen, unfortunately, are still pretty healthy, but we're trying to avoid them. Just damage the enemy army enough that they'll start to crumble, and we'll get the victory that way. Which it looks like we're managing to get for a little bit over here. Terrorgeist is about to go down. It's crumbles to death after taking the business from King Ahamenetum, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But my will be done as well, giving a big boost to the units over here for the extra 5 melee attack and defense. This flank is pretty much crumbled. They have some little last vestiges of skeleton spearmen, but another big tide call. We focus most of them over here. Just before the chariots get in, it breaks their formation with that magic wind spell. Everything starts to go down. Vampire Lord just barely meets our Tomb King right at the end, but not even gonna have to bother with him. That's how you fight against the undead. You kill everything else, then deal with the Lord. Ah, you're no match for chariots. And this guy did really well, our Lord, at taking down the terror guys. That was the big issue I was afraid of, because it does cause terror, which is pretty nasty, because these guys cause fear, but they can still be terror routed. We kind of avoided the Lord on purpose, so we didn't take too much damage on our guy, but very nice. And the nice thing is we claim it over the interns, so that we start in control of it and get the replenishment as well. He has his unique item. So he gets plus 10 armor, discouraged when attacking. That's really nice. Plus 15 character or leadership. That's actually really nice for Tomb King, since they rely so much on characters for leadership. Cause terror. That's actually not bad. He's on a skeletal steed though, which I don't necessarily like. And they've still got some more territory down there. Are they at war with okay, they're actually not at war with Manfred right now, so that's good.
I shall take your advice.
Let's move you out. Actually, what can you recruit here now? You can get some javelins. Let's do that.
What?
Since they're anti-large. We have 4 recruitment slots. Well, I guess we don't have any slots empty for that. Okay, all of this stuff has no experience, so let's just merge. Everybody merge. If you guys have ever heard of the comedian Brian Regan, does an interesting thing about merging in traffic while you're driving. Okay, let's get to Hekar warriors, because they're going to do really well against vampire count infantry. Let's finally get some archers.
My will be done.
You get access to... You get access to... Wow. Minus 50% construction cost for ports faction-wide. That's really good. Okay, you get stuff for Corsairs. With Colossus. Okay, so right now, let's get bonuses. Oh, Kiss of the Deep is really nice because it causes damage nearby. Let's get that one. And put another point to Tide Call. This would bring it down. Oh, this just reduces cooldown. If we get it to the final point, then it makes it cheaper by 1 to bring it down to 4. Get the Summon, because they can be really nice. Ardent Prometheans have lots of armor, and they have lots of mass, so they're good at holding back stuff if we need. like an emergency hold the line situation. Camry, we're going to pump up growth, also so we can get some Bastethi. I want to get Royal Guard chariots for Cetra, so let's keep upgrading that. Eventually we'll get some artillery with it too. A gold mine. This gives us 150 gold per turn. Golden idols produced, canopic jars produced, and unlocks a technology. That gives us better bows. Okay. More powerful longbows with more range, more ammunition. That's pretty cool. Where does that one fit though? Can I just go automatically to it from here? Yeah. Oh, you can do that with some stuff. No. Let's find it then. Caldazar. Six of the Black Temple. Ancient Grudge. Such as Vins Numas. Okay, so it's all the way down here. So we'll not worry about that one. Tomb Guard would be nice. So we'll do Shopti and some sepulchral stalkers and stuff like that. I don't know if I need a garrison in Khemri. We haven't been attacked by anyone yet, but that usually is a problem with Scarbrand. We also have Arcan over here. Jars, recruit rank. Wow. 300 gold per turn. That's pretty good. And trade resources. Control. This gives us research rate too. Gonna definitely do that one. Pyramid at tier 3. Yeah, they're pretty nice. Let's save our... Do we want to save our growth? We definitely want to turn that onto extra growth. That's going to cost 3,000. Let's do that one, because this actually gives us 5 more growth for the province as well, plus some more research rate. I like that. Etc. No regimes ever now unlocked yet. We are losing Winds of Magic though. I'm going to go for Winds of Magic over one more unit, I think. Ooh, actually, there's another army there. Let's go for an ambush. They're in encampment stance, so they're likely to detect it, but if we can ambush them and don't have to fight them at King's Glade, that would be great. We want to get this before it gets any extra bonuses there. We're going to keep this on the replenishment. Actually, does this have an extra ambush success chance? Yes, it does. 50%. And melee defense. That actually might be worth it over the extra replenishment. Let's try that. No, but jars we could unlock. Can we get any Regium Silver Noun right away? We could get the Zandri Black Shields or the Flock of Jajaf. These guys might be really nice because we don't really we have our chariots for mobility. I think we're pretty good on infantry. Let's get these guys real fast. That'll fill that lost slot for Cetra. Okay.
Darkness comes.
You'll attack that next turn. All right, let's just see what goes on here. Yeah, I don't expect us to get the ambush, but the extra melee defense if they attack us will be really nice. etc. Okay, we don't get the ambush, but we get the interception, which is just as good. Well, not as good, but it's pretty good. That means this army will be wiped out for good. Does mean it's going to be a more enclosed battle, though, but it looks like not as many trees. A lot of archers, though. But the Casket of Souls hopefully puts in some work. We have a World Roots interception. So we have a chance to wipe this army out for good. It's actually pretty scary, actually, though. Several more units of Eternal Guard who are all healthy. No shields, but that doesn't really matter too much because we don't have too many missiles. But they will get slightly less melee defense, but still have that massive armor piercing. Some Dryads this time, which have magic attacks and physical resist, so they're going to be very good. We do have the Flock of Dijaf, though, or regiment around Carrion. So different from the vanilla version, they actually become a more like monstrous flying unit. So they get 10 models instead of, I think, the 40 that the normal Carrion have, or 60. But they have flaming attacks, magic attacks, armor piercing, so they're going to be very good at getting through the Dryads if we are careful. And don't get them shot to death by all these Glade Guard. But finally, we're going to be able to see our Casket of Souls a little bit more, because they're going to be bunched up, so he's going to get some nice shots from this. Very, very cool unit, though. We're going to switch over to the left flank in just a little bit. Come on, get your volley off. Reload time. Oh, okay, there we go. Yes. Boom. Pretty much a direct hit in those Eternal Guard and Glade Guard. Awesome. Cetra and the Tomb Prince. Just moving in, trying to shut down some of these Glade Guard, but they have some Eternal Guard to come and reinforce, which is not great. We don't want to fight them. They will actually wreck Cetra and the Tomb Prince because they're massive armor piercing. But Dryads coming for a big charge, and the Forest against the Tomb Kings. That's oh, I guess not. I guess they're going to pull back over here. We have these guys coming in. But Cherry has got a nice charge, but we didn't want to fight the Eternal Guard for too long, so we're going to pull them out. While our Skeleton Spearmen meet the front lines. Lots of range fire still coming in from the Wood Elves. These are Hagbing tips with poison. I don't know if they have any star metal tips for the armor piercing, but Flock Dijaf, we're doing really well at breaking down these Glade Guard. Chariots did get out and going to come in for some more charges on the right. Did get them out of the way of the Eternal Guard, which is key. Army is being led by a Spellweaver, Lore of High Magic, so a little bit of healing, Soul Quench as well, which can be pretty nasty since it reduces leadership as well. So if it gets on the right target, it can do some really big damage to us. We're just trying to chase them, even if we lose some Spearmen in the process, it's worth it just to keep these guys from firing. Casket of Souls, big hit, big miss there. Big swing and a miss. That's what I meant to say. Yep, Dryads and Eternal Guard gonna absolutely wreck our Skeleton Spearmen. But we brought over the Tomb Guard now, along with Nehekar Warriors. Have their leader right there, which is pretty cool. Banner Bearer. And he's starting to get some nice attacks off. Nehekar Warriors won't do too bad against the Eternal Guard. They don't have magic attacks to get through the physical resist of the Dryads, but that'll be okay. Chariots coming around, cleaning up some units, carrying about, finish off these Glade Guard though. Spellweaver going down very, very quickly to Cetra though. We have been casting this entire time. Dijaf's Incantation of Pierce Blades upgraded, so he's getting slightly more damage, but bonus versus large as well. It doesn't matter against this character, but that extra damage is really, really helping out. Carrion doing very, very well. We've not lost a model yet, so they've been very effective. Ranged fire actually hasn't been too much of a problem for us. We've kept a lot of the range units occupied, but man, the Eternal Guard, these guys are tough to take down for your Skeleton Spearmen, so the Calf just leading the battle over here. So you get some good attacks off, please. Or to sit there and take all the spears. But some of our Skeleton Archers are picking up some kills here, though. That's fine. we don't really have too much range to get into these Glade Guard. If they wanted, they could retreat out of range and then shoot at us, but that's why we're keeping the Casket of Souls trained on them. Cetra about killed off the Spellweaver, Tomb Prince in the back, shutting down some of the Glade Guard. Skeleton Spearmen finally caught some of them as well. And we finally broken the army with the Death of the Lord. We're going to use as much time as we can to use the spells to get the Restless Dead off as much as we can, heal up our army. Well, that didn't go too bad. It actually went pretty well for us. Infantry took quite a bit of fire before we got to melee, but after that, not too bad. We definitely want the healing. The money's quite a bit, but because we're not going to be in friendly territory after this for a little bit, we probably want to go in at the highest HP we can get. Although, oh no, we switched off the extra replenishment province bonus. So yeah, we do want to take the replenishment, and that should hopefully get us back to full. If not, it's not a huge issue, I think. We defeated that army. They had a lord recruiting at Kingsglade. Oh, they come out and fight us again, huh? Okay, this time they've got more direwolves, which direwolves actually suck against chariots, so that's actually fine. But they have 2 vampire lords, which is more annoying. Ooh, another battle against undead. We got caught while we were recruiting, so we don't have a full army. But we still have 3 chariots. Our lord, who has access to some really good spells. This is going to be our first time we were able to use Denizens of the Deep, though. So we have some Red Promethean summons. We try to use them to best effect that we can. But we got to be really careful because they have a lot of fast units, a lot of direwolves. Direwolves can absolutely shred skeleton spearmen and skeleton warriors if we're not careful. So we really have to take them out with our chariots as best we can. But they've got some crypt ghouls this time, along with another vampire lord reinforcing. So 2 lords to deal with this time, along with some crypt ghouls. Crypt ghouls are pretty cool. Especially once you give them the hunger in the vampire tech tree, they become really, really good. They're already pretty good units. 120 models, very good offensive stats, poison, and decent armor actually for vampire counts units. So pretty good if you put them in the right position. But the big thing I'm scared of are the Cairn race. So massive physical resist, 55% physical resist. They have magic attacks, lots of armor piercing, all armor piercing, along with frostbite. So if they get on our chariots, they're going to do work. So we really have to be cautious of them. We do have we don't have any magic attacks whatsoever. Spiteful Shot normally be really useful because it gives magic attacks, but it only works on missile units, which we don't have any of. Our chariots these are just regular chariots, they're not archer chariots. So fortunately not going to be able to throw that down. So really good spare in our arsenal that is not going to be available this time, but a couple more seconds between when that lord finally comes in and they'll start advancing. I figured I didn't want a corner camp because I think we can win this without it. I think we have enough guts and glory, ha, pun intended, for our skeleton. All guts, no glory. But we're going to do our best to fight on this little hill right here, give us a little bit of vantage point, and hopefully give us a teeny bit of advantage on the terrain. Really cool as a part of Agamuk's mod. We're also going to see you have little Hierophant Lich Priest who's maintaining the leadership of them in the lore. You always have to have a spellcaster maintain the binding the skeletons, but they've got a banner barrier and a champion. Very, very cool. If you didn't know that, that's based off the actual tabletops where you can have unit champions and things like that. So it's very cool to see that. But we are getting ready for them. We were not marching over here because we want to conserve all of our vigor, do our best to set up a defensive line. They don't have any large units actually, so we're going to want to get off as many charges as we can to get our minuscule charge bonus off of 3, but every little bit helps. But we've put our chariots kind of up here. I initially thought to try to send them after the Cairn Wraiths, but I kind of changed my mind, or after the dire wolves, but the Cairn Wraiths over here kind of changed my mind. So we'll probably get one charge off and not stick around too long over there and come after these dire wolves on that side. But yeah, fighting Cairn Wraiths with skeleton chariots is not great, so we'll get one little charge off here and not stick around too long. They only have 60 speed, they're not Hex Wraiths, so they're not quite as fast, so if they don't get any attacks off, we won't get that debuff from Frostbite, so awesome little bit right there. Pulling over all the chariots onto that side. Fell bats to help support their backline. 2 Vampire Lords. They have really cool armor. I love the undead armor design. Very, very cool. I think the only ones I like more are probably the High Elves and the Dark Elves. Dark Elves have really cool looking armor, both in the tabletop and in Total War. They're really, really great. High Elf like princes and nobles and stuff, they still have my favorite armor though. The dragon armor of Venarian, but direwolves up against a hard counter right here. Chariot's just going to absolutely decimate them. Direwolves do not have very much armor piercing. They rely a lot on their charge bonus and getting on the right targets to kill units. And that fear, which isn't going to affect us because we're undead, so we also cause fear. So yeah, so watch these guys just get absolutely decimated by our charges with the chariots. Basically half their health in one charge. This chariot over here did get caught a little bit, so we pulled it back to deal with these dire wolves because the characters are coming in and we want to make sure we have some ability to block stuff over here. These one got caught in our spearmen. We have kept one guy in reserve just to kind of hold it so they can't get any rear charges, but yes. Hex Wraith going to work now. The Grim Reapers, sliding through the undead, no souls to carry to the underworld today. But there we have a rotting Promethean summoning denizens of the deep. Really cool animation. But big thing is, we just didn't want to lose these skeleton spearmen because our army is not full strength. There's not 20 units, so we need to make sure we keep everything alive, or else it's going to affect our leadership battle-wide. So, gonna use the summon to try to kill off some of them. They have more armor, better melee stats, so hopefully they'll be able to deal with the killing race, and they're summoned, so it doesn't matter if they die or not. The chariots coming to help them out. Now that we dealt with the dire wolves, gonna get some nice chariots in these skeleton warriors. I don't think there's any spearmen in this army, maybe one unit, but chariot's gonna do great work. As soon as we break these vampire camp flanks, we'll start to concentrate on the center, where they are being supported by the lords. We kept our lord safe for the most part just because we do not want him to take too much damage from the vampire lords. He will lose that conflict if it comes to it. So, Rotten Prometheans getting pretty low on their summon time. 8 seconds left. Oh, never mind. Right there. So they go down very, very quickly. That's why we tried to get that chariot charge and at the last second try to get as many of these kills off as we could before they could actually get some counterattacks, which you'll see their HP start to drop really, really quickly. So, but Realm of Souls Tier 2 started to kick in, so we're getting some nice heals there. Vampire Lord trying to come after our chariots and our Lord. Hex or Cairn Wraith just about dead though. But zombies mixed in with some spearmen. Vampire Lord doing some nice spell casting. I think he put Invocation of the Heck on himself. But Chariot, 63 kills. 105 on here. Skeleton Spearmen actually not doing too bad. They do have some of them have 1 or 2 ranks of experience, so they'll hold up a little bit better against the zombies and skeleton warriors. Although these guys are going to get a fair amount of boost and legendary difficulty in combat, so the skeleton spearmen will win against our guys if we're not careful. Cairn Wraiths are going down, they're crumbling, even with the support of the Vampire Lord nearby, but we do not want to sit there and fight that, so having the same tactic as our last battle against the undead, deal with the rest of the army, and then the vampire counts have nowhere to go after that. Lords are the last thing you want to deal with. So, just going to use that cycling charge and chariots to best effect. So you guys do get caught a little bit, but some of the other ones pushing through. Racking up kills now, 86, 87. 38 kills. I think most of the deaths against this vampire army are going to be from actually crumbling instead of actually kills on our part. The Cherry's still doing a good amount of work. Nothing Rotting Promethean summon done right there. Try to block this Lord. as he was trying to get on top of our chariots, so it's just to keep him occupied. Our Prometheans actually have pretty decent melee stats, especially on the offensive. We have My Will Be Done nearby to help them support them. Well, I guess just barely got out of range, but just trying to do some damage to this guy and lower the balance of power, which it is pretty close to going completely in our favor. Enemy troops are dwindling very, very fast, but the lords are still holding out. Pretty much full leadership with the cycling charges, cycling charging of our chariots. Their army has got nothing left for us. Man, it's like I always thought chariots are terrible, but Tomb King chariots are actually really nice just because there's so many models per unit. 12 models per unit for chariots is actually amazing, and they have pretty decent stats, so they can do very well early in a campaign. Crypt Ghouls finally going down. They did a fair amount of damage though, 129 kills for the Crypt Ghouls. But Vampire army's just about given up. You'll see the Vampire Lords start to crumble any second now. Yes. Their binding is gone. Direwolves had no chance. They are going to get another chance though because of the Dead Rise again, so some of these units will come back. Because you're going to be a lot more offensive still, and we have to take a settlement, I'm going to go for the heal. Actually, we're recruiting units. And it's not too much replenishment. I'm going to take the money. Tomb Kings, you always run out of money, so. Okay, did they have another army at the Oak of Ages? Looks like they did. But it's only got a few units. We could perform the Great Incantation of Kassar, which doesn't really matter because we're not on the defensive. They got Claw coming though. Up. Half, get that extra training. Tomb Prince. Once you're in your chariot, what's your melee defense like? 41 is actually not bad. I'm just going to keep going for leadership because I just don't want to lose you before you become immortal. Let's look at our other guy down here. Put 2 points into Tide Call. That'll make that cheaper. Ooh, we got Manfred's faction coming up though. But that's a great spot to end episode 2, guys. We're going to have lots of fun in this Tomb Kings campaign. I'm very excited to show off lots of the new units in action. So thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.